Today we're here with Chalton Askew. He is running for mayor of LaGrange. Chalton, thank you for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Glad to have you here. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was born and raised in Troup County. I'm a product of the local school system. I attended LaGrange College. I worked 30 years at Interface as a cost accountant, and I am now the executive director of the Racial Trust Building Initiative, working to improve relations in our community.
Wonderful. You're running for mayor and there's limited time. So tell us about what is one reform? What is something that you would like to be a big initiative to undertake?
So I think in our community, I think this way, Kendall, where are we bleeding, in our community? And from the conversations that I've been a part of, it looks like affordable housing is a priority for many of the citizens. And that is an initiative that's already being worked on that I could join and work collaboratively with. I'm going to say to help prioritize it, or at least help citizens know that we're working on issues that are important to families.
In with affordable housing, it definitely is a hot topic. Are you familiar with the UDO, with the Uniform Development Ordinance? And if so, do you have an opinion on, do you think that should be looked at again for any modifications?
Well, it was just modified, and the public did get an opportunity to take a look at it. And as the lens I looked through then would probably be different today, considering intent and impact. So we've had a little bit of fallout, and you're not always able to gauge the impact versus the intent. So I think intent can be completely innocent, but when we find that there is an impact that has some, I'm going to say, pushback or may not have hit the mark perfectly, I think we owe it to ourselves and the citizens to say, let's take another look to see if we need to make any changes today.
Okay. What about LaGrange is definitely in a growth pattern. And so how do you see LaGrange preserving its character while accepting the growth?
So I think the whole world is evolving and it's changing. And with AI that's here, that's one of the, I'm going to say, universal indicators that we know that we're not going back to the old day. So how do we preserve the character? I believe it's in the people of the community, the people that give their lives tirelessly, selflessly to make an impact in this community. Many of the organizations, like we carry the spirit of this community in our DNA. We chose to live here and we are here making a difference and an impact. I think that is one of the best ways to preserve the legacy, by letting the citizens see us put our hands to the plow to make a difference, and they will catch that spirit and in their generation begin to serve others in our community.
Great, great. We want to talk about the budget a little bit. So do you support the funding of nonprofits through the city of LaGrange? And would you like to see the budget increased or decreased for nonprofit contributions?
So I'm the executive director of a nonprofit. So for certain, I would like to see the budget include some funding for nonprofits, but not just for that reason only. But what I've been able to see from being a part of other nonprofits and just the nonprofit sector in our community is they are the ground truth. They are the first line responders to many of our citizens that, I'm going to say, just need some assistance, not just monetarily, but in many areas where the nonprofit community touch our citizens. So as a city, I think we have to also collaborate and partner with those organizations without exasperating their ability to serve the community. For instance, I've talked to a few people that's helping with food insecurity, and those lines are growing longer in our community with people that need those services. And so I don't want to see us as a city sit idly by and wait on people to starve out in our community when we could be proactive. Now, when you look at a budget, of course, there are things that perhaps we might be able to do some reallocation, which may not increase the budget at all. It just may reallocate some funds. But since we did just delete some funds from a nonprofit, so upping the budget a little bit may be a viable solution.
Okay. And so, what is one societal need that you see the city of LaGrange and with your leadership could tackle and make a difference?
A societal need, I think we have needs that overlap or connect, but I think as a trust builder, I think I would come in and advocate for strong relations between leaders, not just within the city, but with all leadership entities in our community, that if we synergize and work together, I believe that there is nothing that we couldn't accomplish together. And I've decided to be a part of solutions that help make change happen in this community. And I would bring an objective, alternative perspective to help us look through a lens that includes every citizen in our community, regardless of skin tone, color, regardless of socioeconomic factors. But they're human beings and they're our neighbors in this community.
Yes. Tell us about what was an occurrence in your lifetime that has led you to want to be involved in public office.
So I've had several of those, and they're not brag points. Some of them were pain points. So I grew up in this community during a time where I'm going to say there was more of, I'm going to say, a racial footprint. That one of those times was when we went to Vacation Bible School at a predominantly white church. And an emergency meeting was called to determine if we would be allowed to participate, where we had been invited by our friends from school. Another time is when I visited a public pool. And I'm going to say we were made to pass the pole test before we could enter the water. And when we passed the test, it became a private pool for us to swim in. Those are emotional memories and times that I still remember that caused me as an adult to say, do I want to be part of the problem or do I want to be part of the solution? So I have given a big part of my life to saying, how can we make it different for the next generation by acknowledging historical harm and giving everyone a chance to have their narrative heard, told, and celebrated in a way that we can all move forward as citizens of this community.
I'm going to go back to the budget a little bit.
Okay.
So everyone is having, financial pressures, families, organizations, and the community. So is there anything that you see could be cut on the budget?
I've taken a look at the budget, and because I don't have, you can look at the generic headings on that budget, and you're not always able to tell what supports that and what it represents. So I was a part of the budget process at Interface, so I know that there are buckets that you put money in. And part of explaining those narratives, you have to speak with the management, to find out what is this piece and what does it represent. So when I looked at the budget, one of the things that stuck out to me was the outside services. that piece of the budget. And so you can look at it and say, this catches my attention, but you're not always sure what it meant. So then I asked a question of someone, and they were able to give me more insight. But it would take some looking into. What I don't want to do is come into the position and set myself at odds with people that have worked hard to make the budget that we have. I think it's always smart to analyze, to see what should be priority in the next budget. When we look at, I'm going to use this as an example. We just gave an increase to our police force. And that was a budgetary item. And now we have other services that may be feeling left out. And we'll have to consider, are we going to also extend that same privilege to other services? We want to keep good people in our city, and we want the message to be clear that all citizens matter, and their contribution, what they're doing today, is honored and needed to help us continue to be a thriving community.
And along with that is, how do we get all of our positions filled with the police department and our fire department?
So, as you mentioned, in a changing economy where inflation, where the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to because of cost of living and other factors, inflation. So when we are able to incentivize those salaries, that helps. I think with a number of businesses that are attracted to this community, we're doing something right in this community. And we have to promote that, but we also have to make sure that we are authentic in helping everyone have a narrative of progression. I believe when the citizens are well and their well-being, then it would be some of the best advertising that we could have in this community to help sell this community to someone who may look at it to live, work, and play and raise families.
That's so true. I'm going to give you a few minutes to be able to tell our community why they should vote for you, Chalton.
Thank you for that opportunity, Kendall. I would like to say this to our community, that I'm dedicated and committed. And many of you have seen me at the table with many other nonprofits and organizations contributing to the conversation, contributing to solutions, doing what I can as one person to join synergistically with other leaders in this community to say, let's make it happen for the citizen. I believe that greater is upon us as a community, and regardless to what's happening in the nation, we can take ownership of this community. We can work hard, we can dream, and we can have hope that we can give to the next generation. But most importantly, let them see us working together to be the change that we want to see. I will help advocate for that, and I will also put myself, I'm going to say, on the playing field to say, I am here to make a difference. I would invite you also to check out my website, Chalton Askew for Mayor. It has a little bit more information about me, and I look forward to a great future for this community.
Well, Chalton, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it, and we look forward to finding out more from you.
Thank you. Thank you.